Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Kata Studio. So welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. So I've done a few changes on the thing, as you can see down there in the thing. Yeah, that sounded really intelligent, didn't it? Holy crap, I hate it whenever that happens. And hello, M&C Family Homestead over there. He says, that music sounds familiar. Yes, it does. And yep, you. And by the way, I used the crap out of that Music Maker Jam. That thing is awesome. That's where I put together all my music app. For those of you that do not know, Music Maker Jam, they do have a version of it available on Android, and they actually have a desktop version of it too. So that's actually kind of cool. I like it. It's fun, and I'm still learning how to use it. Definitely still learning how to use it. But yeah, so guys, we've got all kinds of things to talk about today. And hello, Linda, over there in Spreaker Land. How are you doing? She says, hello from me, Vector, and Emo. Yes, hello, all y'alls. How you doing? So yeah, we've got some stuff to talk about, guys. We really do. We've got I'm going to be talking a little bit about Alex Baldwin. Going to be talking a little bit about the abortion debate that's going on. M&C says, lol, after 4 years. Yes, absolutely. Still learning even after 4 years. Yep. Hey, you always got to learn, you always do. And I'm definitely still trying to figure this crap out. Oh, Linda said that she uses Music Maker too. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I've heard some really neat stuff from, even people that, on YouTube that use Music Maker Jam, some of the stuff that they've done on the desktop version of it. I mean, really, really neat stuff of what you can do and all that other kind of good stuff. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff to cover on this one. Holy crap. I'm not Englishing very well, apparently. But we're going to be talking a little bit about a little bit about Fauci, a little bit about, the COVIDs, not much, but just touching base on it. We're going to be talking a little bit about Cuomo. That was hilarious. Got stuff about, that's just hilarious. The FCC nomination. We're going to be talking about the abortion debate. I don't know if I mentioned that already or not. We've just got a lot of stuff to talk about, but first we are going to touch base right here with this article from the Daily Beast. Holy crap, I'm having a hard time talking today. But yeah, this article from Daily Beast, you guys want to get a kick out of this. I know I did. Let's go ahead and take a look at it after I make sure that is off. It is very good. Displays, kabam. No, wait, wrong one. There we go. Kabam. Headline, Kentucky Republican asks Santa for more ammo with deranged rifle-toting family Christmas photo. I thought that was hilarious for those of you that are watching on the places on the stream. And hello, Dave, over there in Facebook land. He says, good evening. Good to see you. Yes, good to see you over there as well. But this picture is funny to me. Let's go ahead and paint it to you. All right. You've got a family of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different people, Christmas tree in between them, sitting on a love seat, 3 people on a love seat. Holy crap, how do you do that? Anyway, every single member of this family is holding a rifle. Every single one of them. Now, look, I don't know enough to know what each and every one of these guns are. I have no idea. I can tell you this, only one of them looks to be left-handed. And that's it. All the rest of them are right-handed. And yes, I notice these things. Left-handed people notice these things. I mean, we do. You know, in a world that is made for right-handed people, we notice when other people are left-handed. You know, I mean, you take a pen. Here's a prime example. You take a pen. This is a really bad example. Let me do this. Get into the other thing. There we go. When you hold a pen, normally, okay, we'll do this one. All right, so it's got writing on it. When you hold it left-handed, that writing's upside down. Big deal on that one. But, you know, like notebooks, you know, if you're left-handed and you've ever used a spiral-bound notebook, you get them lines on your stinking hands. They hurt. You know, it's just a pain. You know, it's just, okay, anyway. But these are things that left-handed people notice, you know, that other people are left-handed. But, you know, every single one of them in this picture has, you know, they're smiling. Obviously, it's a Christmas photo. Why are you calling, you know, why are you even making a comment that they're deranged? I mean, come on, you know, they're obviously people on the right. They are obviously people whom believe in freedom, who believe in the Second Amendment. And why are they making a big deal out of that? Dave said that he's left-handed. That's awesome. I did not know that. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And Dave, you can vouch for this. You know, everything seems like it's left-handed. You know, actually it's kind of hilarious. You know, my mother's left-handed, my dad is right-handed, but my mom, considering the, you know, when she grew up and whatnot, there wasn't a lot of left-handed options out there. So there are a lot of things that she does right-handed, you know, play guitar, I think she even plays baseball right-handed, you know, different things like that. You know, just the left-handed option wasn't really there. So I consider myself way more left-handed than she is. In fact, the only thing that I do right-handed is swing a stick. You know, golf, hockey, baseball, you know, batting, baseball, you know, that swing a stick, that's the only thing I do right-handed. And the funny thing is, like my brother, you know, we are 2.5 years apart as far as age goes. He's 2.5 years older than I am. And he is right-handed, except he swings a stick left-handed, the exact opposite that I am. Swings a stick left-handed, I swing a stick right-handed. I just, you know, just one of those things that I find it weird. 2.5 years apart, you really wouldn't think that would necessarily be a thing, but it is, apparently. Anyway, going back to this article, I don't understand why this is even a big deal, why they're making a big deal out of it. It kind of seems ridiculous to me because, you know, all they're wanting to do is demonize people whom believe in the Constitution, believe in the Second Amendment, believe in freedom. That's what they're doing. You know, it's just demonizing people who believe in that. And I find it irritates me. So moving on from that one. This article from The Insider, and this is another one that absolutely I had to laugh about. Let me go ahead and bring that up and show you. The headline is, I can't even pronounce her first name, Kaylee McEnany. I know I'm mispronouncing her last name, but anyway, she said that she didn't lie in the White House briefing room because she went to Oxford, Harvard, and Georgetown and was a Christian. Here's the thing. I don't know her political leaning, but here's the thing. What does any of that crap have to do with whether you lied or not? What, like people from Oxford, Harvard, and Georgetown don't lie? There's never been a Christian that's lied? I mean, what, just ridiculousness. Now we're going to get into something that, a little bit with the Rittenhouse trial. All right. So this article from Red State, body cam is out on Rittenhouse jury stalking, and it just nails NBC to the wall. Now, I unfortunately have not actually watched this video, haven't listened to it, but it is still one of them things that I've learned about whenever the Rittenhouse trial was going on. And, here it is that they were trying to claim that, oh no, this wasn't any big deal. They weren't actually doing what they said they were doing. This person that was following the bus wasn't actually affiliated with NBC. This was a freelance photographer, not associated whatsoever. And this headline really makes it sound like that statement by NBC wasn't true. That definitely swings to this direction. Now, here's the thing, okay? When you're talking about law, when you're talking about this kind of stuff, are we going to see, this is the question, are we going to see any kind of prosecution to these people, to the Gage Gossinger, Goskrieg, whatever that guy's name is, the one that lived, he was a felon that had a gun. Is he going to be prosecuted for attempted murder? Is he going to be prosecuted for, illegal possession of a firearm? Is he going to be prosecuted? Because as of yet, I've not seen anything about, him being prosecuted. Is NBC or even, the person who actually did the following, are they going to be prosecuted for doing what they did? Because yes, that's illegal. Following the jury in order to put that information out there so that this way they can be harassed, tampering with the jury, all that other kind of good stuff. Yes, this is illegal. Are we going to see any type of prosecution come from it? Because this is the thing that really does aggravate, and I'm not even going to say it aggravates the right, as if we're the only ones that get aggravated by this kind of thing. This is something that affects law-abiding citizens, people whom are held to one standard, and you see privilege from somebody else, due to a position that they have, a stance that they have, or a job that they have, that seems to be that the law just doesn't apply to them. These are things that are extremely infuriating to people like me, and I'm sure people like you as well. I mean, you're watching the program. You're listening. I'm sure that these type of things aggravates you too. The double standard when it comes to how laws are prosecuted, how laws are upheld, things of that nature. And talking about people in the double standard as far as what people can get away with. This one on, and thank you, Linda, by the way, on this one, CBS, no, I forget who that, the Peacock people, the news, this one, I don't remember again. I think it's CBS. But anyway, headline, CNN fires Chris Cuomo for aiding his brother against sexual misconduct allegations. And I also seen another headline on this one talking about, why nobody said anything to him. NBC. Thank you, Linda. NBC. Not CBS. I always want to say CBS. No, it's NBC. NBC News. Anyway, the question was, why didn't anybody say anything? But it's like, whenever you are working in Hollywood, these people that are, these news anchors and whatnot, these people live in a bubble. They really do. I mean, it's pretty obvious they live in a bubble. You know, they don't have to, they don't get called out on their Bravo Sierra like other people do. You know, that and these people are considered people of power. You know, they have pull, they have influence. Nobody wants to tick them off for fear of losing their job, for fear of being ostracized, for fear of getting blacklisted to where they'll never work again in the industry of their choosing. That's why people keep their mouth shut whenever you have something stupid going on, like Chris Cuomo covering for his brother. And I mean, come on, I don't necessarily, I'm not going to say that I necessarily blame Chris Cuomo for wanting to help his brother in this sexual assault allegation. I can't say as if I necessarily blame him for that. You know, there's a lot of people out there. We have siblings, we have family members. Whenever something like this happens, regardless of that person's guilt or innocence, we're going to go up to bat for him. We're going to try to help him out. We're going to try to protect him. You know, a lot of us would do that, I'm sure. And I don't necessarily, you know, I can't say as if I blame Chris Cuomo for what he did. But here's the thing. Okay. The people at CNN should have done something about it. Why they didn't, I have no idea. You know, why didn't they pull Chris Cuomo to where, no, you can't interview your brother. You know, you can't do this kind of stuff. You can't go up to bat for him because look, you know, it looks bad for us. You know, put whatever spin you want to justify, you know, taking him out of that situation because that's what should have happened. I mean, let's just be honest about it. That's what should have happened, you know? And hello, Brian, over there in YouTube land. He said, what's up, J-Rod? Not much, man. Not much at all. But yeah, that's where my issue lies. You know, it's not necessarily that Andrew Cuomo, you know, helped, you know, with the party line, with the narrative of what his brother may or may have not done. You know, that's not what my issue is. You know, and I mean, granted, it's you know, whatever. It's neither here nor there. But it's CNN being complacent and just letting it happen. They should have stepped in. They should have stopped it. They should have done something about it. You know, I mean, if you're worried about the integrity of your news broadcasts, then that's what should have happened. Now, I mean, granted, we all know that CNN doesn't really care about that kind of crap because, I mean, have you watched CNN recently? I mean, I know I haven't, but have you? I mean, do they really uphold news, facts, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how? Not really. But that's beside the point. You would think that that's what they'd want to do. Moving on. This article I had to laugh quite a bit about. I really did. Okay. The new thing that's going on right now is people being all butthurt. Now, why they're bringing this up over a year after the fact, or at least a year after the fact, but whatever, this headline from the Bulwark, let's go ahead and pull it up. It says, Trump tried to kill Biden with the COVID-19 Ermiger. Oh, no. Really? Are you kidding me? Trump tried to kill Biden with the COVID-19? Guys, look, I mean, here's what they're talking about. Okay, a few days before one of their, debates, Trump tested positive. He didn't trust the test. People were getting false positives. This was something that was known. It's not like it was a secret. And what Trump did was before the debate, he got another test and tested negative. I mean, here's the thing. Do you really think that Biden's people would have let him go through the debate if Trump tested positive? No. I mean, that was one of the things that they were definitely adamant about. No, this isn't going to happen because the Biden team was looking for any excuse they could to back out of this. They did not want to go head to head with Trump in a debate. They really didn't, because everything that Biden does has to be scripted, has to be routined. I don't think that's a word. But anyway, everything that Biden does, Trump can do better. Anything you can do, I can do better. Trump is great about talking on his feet. He can debate with the best of them. He does debate, and he's a fighter. Biden did not want to go head to head with Trump. That's all there was to it. He was looking for any and every excuse that he could to back out of it. So they're just using this narrative to try to make Trump look bad before the 2024 elections. That's what it amounts to. They're attacking him, trying to somehow find a way that they can shush Trump up and not have to actually face him again in the 2024 elections. They think it will really be bad for them. And speaking of Biden, this headline from Ars Technica. I've never heard of these guys, but okay. Ted Cruz asks how regular watchers of Fox News can trust the Biden FCC nominee. I guess her name is, I'm going to completely screw this one up. Gigi Son? Gigi? I have no idea. But apparently they lost false. They're being accused. Senate Republicans are being accused of lobbying, of saying false allegations against her in her nomination hearing. They're not false allegations. That's the thing. They're not false allegations at all, because here's what she did. She was talking openly, okay, in public. Sorry. I don't know why I do that every time I say public. Anyway, in public on Twitter, okay, she had a Twitter feed, as most people do. She was saying stuff that was very anti-Fox News, that they should be taken off the air for being, are you ready for this? State-run propaganda. Okay. But she was adamant about it, wanting them to be removed, wanting them to be taken down. Now, here's the thing. I am, as I'm sure most of you are, a principled conservative, a principled constitutional conservative. You know, whenever it comes to freedom, I'm going to stand with you. I don't care what the topic is. If the debate, if the discussion is about freedom, I will stand with you every single step of the way. I may not agree with you, but when it comes to upholding freedom, I would much rather see freedom of speech rather than freedom from speech, and people think that that's what the Constitution meant. Okay? I agree with her position, I do not agree with her position, but I agree with her ability to say it. But here's the thing, though. She has already shown a bias towards conservative media, a bias towards media that doesn't tote the party line, that doesn't tote the narrative that the left wants to go out there. And it is definitely bad form to appoint somebody like this into a position of power at the FCC, to where they can put regulations in there, to where they can put stuff in there. You know, I mean, the whole, Facebook fact checker, it's not about whether something is true or false. It's about whether they want that information to be out there. That's what they do. That's what they're fact checking. They're not actually checking for facts. They're checking to see if this is something that we want out there, if this is something that we want available to be seen by other people. A lot of the times they do not want the truth to spread. Now, here's the thing. And I know what the argument is. Just because she has this opinion that she has stated in public doesn't necessarily mean that she will hold that opinion in that public office That's awesome, Linda. She said, will FCC now stand for freaking cancel culture? I think FCC already stands for that, especially whenever you're looking in social media. Yeah, that's a good one, Linda. I like that. I may use that. Freaking cancel culture. That's what FCC stands for now. But I do understand the argument of what they're saying. Just because she has a public stance against Fox News, calling it a state-run propaganda machine, doesn't necessarily mean that that's how she's going to tailor any regulation or her activity in the FCC. I get the argument, but here's the thing. Do you really trust anybody on the left to actually adhere to that? Because I know I do not. I mean, I really don't. I mean, look at how people that Trump has been nominating. Look at how people that Biden has been nominated has been acting. You know, they're not upholding the Constitution. They could care less about their oaths of office. That's what we see. That's what's been going on. So no, I don't trust this person to actually run the FCC with any kind of integrity, standing true to constitutionality. I don't believe it's going to happen. I really don't. Unfortunately, the same thing goes for that lady that was, what was her name? I don't even remember. The one that was wanting the housing sector or whatever to be, on public, governmentized, whatever. Fact of the matter is, I don't trust her. I really don't. I don't trust her to run having that type of a stance on whether somebody should be canceled, that she will actually be, running that department, running the FCC with integrity, running it constitutionality. I don't see it. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen at all. I may be wrong. What do you guys think on her? I know that there's been, some stuff out there on it, but what do y'all think? Let me know down in the comments. And we are going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we return, we got something else to talk about. We're going to be talking a little bit about Biden, some of the claims that he has made recently, which are absolutely hilarious, quickly debunked. Holy cow. We're also going to talk a little about this whole Mexico, the stay in Mexico thing. What else we're going to be touching base on? We might end up getting to Alex Baldwin in the next segment as well. So just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back.
You are correct. You are correct.
Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. All right, and we are back. And yes, all right, I had to laugh. That was actually pretty stinking funny. Here I am playing the Tussin promo. I cough. Right before he said, cough? Tussin. Or I said, I guess I should put that. That was hilarious. That cracked me up. I had to laugh. That was funny. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. By the way, welcome back. Yes, we're going to start in on this headline from Fox News. I seen this. I had to laugh, or I heard it. I had to laugh. Headline from Fox News. I had a brain fart there for a second, apparently. Holy cow. Biden claims to have served as a liaison during the 6-day war, despite still being in law school at the time. Now, here's the thing. I didn't check on this to actually look when any of this actually happened. I don't remember when the 6-year war was, but I do remember how long the 6-year war was. I know that one. Okay? But he is claiming, now this is actually kind of the funny thing about it, okay? The person whom he is saying that he met with, one, didn't even have that position at the time of the 6-year war. And at the time he is claiming to be a liaison, he was in college. Do you really think that the government is going to use a college student as a liaison? No, that's ridiculous. You know, and here's the thing. This is what cracked me up about this, okay? This is what cracked me up. Biden just says crap. He says crap all the time. And again, this is one of those aspects of living in a bubble, what I was talking about during the last segment, okay? He lives in a bubble. He tells stories all the time. He's getting a little off in his old age, you know, not quite there. You know, there's all kinds of talk going around in Washington right now as to, you know, the capability of him actually being able to be the president and take care of the issues of what's going on. There's a lot of talk as to whether he is mentally competent enough for the job. But he's getting old and senile in his old age. He's, you know, wordage, I'm telling you. He's beginning to believe his lies. Now, I don't know if he's ever said this one before. I have no clue. I don't know. You know, prior to him, you know, running as president, I really didn't pay much attention to Biden. You know, even whenever he was vice president, I mean, let's face it, you know, as a vice president, you know, unless there is a 50-50 split and you have to be that, you know, tie-breaking vote like Kamala Harris is now, the vice president really doesn't do much. I didn't really have a whole heck of a lot of reason to really pay attention to him. I knew he was a Democrat. I knew he had been in office since 1973. I knew all this stuff, or at least, was it 1973? Yeah, I think 1973. I knew he was somebody whom is definitely a person who has made his money sucking on the government teat. I knew this. A lot about his politics? Not really. I knew that he didn't really do much in office. I knew that one too. I knew that he had run 2 different times, or at least, run for president at least 2 different times and had to bow out both times because he got caught doing something stupid. And here you go again, Biden doing something stupid, saying something stupid. You know, and what really was the point? That's what my question is. Like, what was the point of making this kind of claim? I mean, holy crap, really? what's the point of this claim? Oh, I was a liaison back in, during the 6-Day War. I was talked to personally by this prime minister who wasn't even prime minister whenever this whole thing went down. What was the whole reason behind lying about this? Like I said, these are things that he just can't seem to keep track of in his own head. Linda put in here, goes, ever notice how much he blinks while talking during his addresses? I can't say that I have, but I mean, here's the thing though, okay? I don't really focus all that much on the whole blinking thing whenever you're on camera, because I can tell you this, all right? If you're going to be on camera, okay, cameras are sensitive to the amount of light in the room. You got to be lit. You got to be well lit. Okay. That means the brightness has to be up, especially whenever you're talking webcams and stuff like that. Now, some of these other cameras, probably like the ones that they're using, has a bigger lens to where it lets in more light, so it's not quite as sensitive. But even still, you want a good picture, you want a solid picture, a more stable picture, you want good lighting. That means bright lights. I have to keep my lights on for a while. Excuse me. I got to put my lights on for a while before I actually go live, so that this way my eyes have a chance to, catch up to the brightness. So it's not quite as, I got to do that. If I turn these things on right before I go live, I'm like, I'm squinting. I'm squinting like I've done something I shouldn't have been doing, been toking that crazy horse, if you will. So, I don't put a lot of weight in that one. For me, all that really means is he didn't get used to the light before he got out there. And, maybe his eyes aren't quite as good, not really a huge deal to me, but it's very obvious with how he speaks. The man is always reading from a teleprompter. It's just, he can't speak from the cuff. He has a hard time keeping his facts straight. I cringe watching any interview with him in it, any TV spot, anything. I cringe, because he doesn't seem like he's doing a good job. He's really not. He's not, and I gotta be honest with you. I have a hard time understanding the man. It takes a while for him to get to his point. And by the time, I got to have a translator for the man. Let's just put it that way. I can understand Spanish better than I can understand whenever Biden is speaking. I don't speak Spanish. I'm not fluent. I know enough Spanish to get myself in trouble, and that's about the extent of it. I have a hard time understanding the man. I'm going to be honest with you. With all the blunders that he does when he's talking, the this, that, and the other, the stuff like that, it's like you got to be an editing king. You got to be an editing king in order to get that thing to where it sounds, to where it sounds like he's making a coherent thought. Holy crap. I can't say a whole heck of a lot because I have my moments whenever I can't speak either. You guys witness that all the time, but even still, this is the leader of the free nation. And oh man, holy crap. And I can't do teleprompters anyway. I've actually tried teleprompter and it's like, I don't do very good at that either. I don't do very good with teleprompter. I don't. I speak better, into the camera, having a idea of what it is I should talk about. Granted, I have all kinds of squirrel moments, go off on tangents all the time, but I do better doing that than what I do reading off of it. Now, I can read quick. Don't get me wrong. I can read pretty decent, but reading a teleprompter, with the words scrolling like that, I have a hard time with that. It's a talent. It's a skill. It really is. And it's a skill that I ain't got. Moving on. This article from... Yeah, there's another one for Fox News. Holy crap, here we go. This headline, Biden administration reaches deal with Mexico to re-implement the Trump-era Remain in Mexico policy. Now, here's the thing, guys. This is actually, they had so many problems. So many people coming across that southern border, all right? So many people. Such a huge problem. Finally, they decided to go ahead and do something about it. And it's about stinking time that they did. But they finally figured it out. Not like they're going to give, Trump any credit for this whatsoever. But maybe that policy that Trump made was a good policy. Maybe that'll actually help. And then I seen this headline, this article. Nope, not that one. Why do every single one of these things have pop-ups? Okay, this headline from Hot Air, you guys are going to love this one. Too good to be true, the caravan dissolves as Mexico promises work visas relocation to migrants. Yeah, but here's the thing. This is what they're talking about. The Remain in Mexico policy. Mexico's starting to implement this, and that's what they're doing. The Mexico is starting to talk about these work visas and relocations for these migrants. And you also have the Trump Remain in Mexico policy being re-implemented. Of course, the caravan is dissolving. The only reason why the caravan got going in the first place was because, open border policy. Mexico was just letting them go through, not stopping them, not questioning them. When you had the cartel still doing their thing, but you didn't have Mexico doing anything about it. Now that you got Mexico stepping in and saying, hey, we'll help you, work visas, relocation, the stay in Mexico policy, yeah, the caravan's dissolving. Why? Because obviously, if they don't have that guarantee to get here, then why would they actually waste their time in going into a huge caravan and come here in the first place? Just saying. And talking about the migrants, okay? I seen this headline, and I got to admit, I wasn't surprised, but I did not hear anything about this before looking at this article. Something that I haven't looked at. And I do. I pay attention to, the illegal migration, illegal aliens coming here. I mean, there's a lot of things that I read on that. That's one of my pet peeves. I find it extremely irritating that here we fail our veterans in this country. We fail our own population, okay? They have to fight so hard to get anything, and then here we are, willing to give the moon to illegals that cross our border illegally. I mean, obviously, that's what illegals do. That's why they're labeled illegals. They're crossing the border illegally. We are a sovereign nation that has border laws, that has laws in general, and here they want to say that, crossing the border is no big deal because, whatever their reasoning is, it doesn't freaking matter. We are still a sovereign nation with laws. It irritates the crap out of me to have any administration take that office to faithfully execute the laws, and then what's one of the first things that they do? Just come across the border. It doesn't matter. We'll take care of you, even though you're illegal. That's not faithfully executing the laws at all. I mean, that's a violation of your oath of office. That's a violation of your oath of office. Why aren't these people getting impeached? Why aren't they being held accountable to lying to the American people? It's bogus. It ticks me off. It is a pet peeve of mine. But this headline, see, that was another squirrel moment. Pretty good, wasn't it? This headline from Daily Wire, 50,000 records went missing from illegal immigrant data to produce false impressions. Backlog was shrinking. Yes, 50,000 records went missing because they wanted to make it look like that the problem at the border wasn't as bad as what it was. 50,000 records. Holy crap. Now, I did not know this prior. I didn't know anything about it at all. But are we really surprised? I mean, we already know, going into the whole, veteran aspect of it, we already know that the government will lie on numbers all the stinking time so that this way they don't look as bad as, to make it look like they're not doing as bad of a job as what they really are. We see this all the time. We really do. So, it's no surprise to see this headline from the Daily Wire. It really is no surprise whatsoever. They got to make themselves look good so that this way, maybe they can get what they want to actually happen. Maybe they can get the amnesty, like what this headline is talking about from National Review. Amnesty in the reconciliation bill would impose major long-term costs. Of course, it's going to impose major long-term costs. Why? Because the number of illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, is way higher than what they're even willing to talk about. Way higher. Especially whenever you're talking about not just amnesty for the illegals, whenever you're talking about the, what's that called? Whenever you can, bring up a family member, whenever you can sponsor somebody else to come up here. What the heck is that all about? You're going to reward somebody who illegally crossed the border by allowing more of their family member just to go ahead and come up. And then you're going to have the welfare state, because that's what we got as a welfare state. We're going to pay for them. Holy crap. And who does this hurt? This is the thing that they don't want to talk about. Who does illegal immigration hurt? Lower income families, lower income people. The minority population. This is who this hurts more than anybody else. It doesn't hurt the college graduates. It doesn't really hurt them as much, but it hurts the low skill and no skilled worker. Not to talk bad about anybody who works in these positions, but that's really what it amounts to, isn't it? Whenever you have people coming up here that don't have trades, they have to basically learn from scratch to do anything that's going to really pay them any amount of money in the job market, okay? That's whose job they are competing for. They're not really competing for my job. I'm a truck driver. That's a trade. They're not competing for the guy who works on the pipelines. They're not competing for the job of a guy who works on an oil rig. They're not competing for a guy whom, does this, that, or the other, a trade. They're not competing with people whom work in STEM, science to, what's the T? Engineering and math. Yeah, whatever that T is. Holy crap, that name just flew right out my window, But those aren't the jobs that they are competing for. They're competing for people whom, no skilled or low skilled employment. People that stock shelves. People that, work in McDonald's. Now again, I'm not knocking these jobs. But what I am, technology. Thank you, Linda. Science, technology, engineering, and math. I can't believe that just flew right out my brain. You're on it. You are on it. Thank you. But yeah, those aren't the jobs that these no-skilled, low-skilled people are fighting for. They're fighting for the other jobs. The ones that you don't need a college education. You don't need to go to a trade school. Okay? And whenever you do this, the law of supply and demand is pretty clear on this one. The more people you have fighting for the same job, the less that job is going to pay. So what you're doing, not only are you, and this is the thing, guys, I want you to pay attention here. All right. Whenever the law of supply and demand, people want to, the left, they want to act like this isn't going on. That for some reason, their policies that they want to implement are beyond the laws of supply and demand. Okay, the law of supply and demand, it just is. You can't legislate your way out of it. It is. It's kind of like the law of gravity. No law that you write is going to stop that from happening. It just is. You drop a pin, it's going to go to the ground. there ain't no law that you can write that is going to prevent that from happening. The same thing of the law of supply and demand. There's no law, no regulation that you can write that is going to stop that from happening. Okay? You have availability, supply, you got demand. The higher the supply, the lower the demand, the lower the cost. The lower the supply, higher demand, higher price. That's all there is to it. It's the ratio of the supply versus the demand. The higher the demand in relation to the amount, the supply, you're going to get higher prices. It is what it is. You can't regulate your way out of it. So whenever you have more people fighting for the same job, they don't need to pay as much. And here's the thing too. You're not going to have as many people fighting for that job if all you do is give them money to sit on their butt at home on the couch playing a video game or doing whatever they do. They're not going to be fighting for that job. Why? Because you are paying them to sit on their butt through the welfare system. So until you take control of the immigration, stop people from flooding across our border, which is doing nothing more than hindering people, hindering minorities, hindering people that are, maybe just high school graduates, the no-skilled, low-skilled workers. That's all you're doing. I mean, here they are demanding more money. And yes, even though this is something they don't want to acknowledge, but yes, this is going on. This whole Build Back Better, they're saying that's not going to help this issue. Giving more money. Allowing these companies to invest in in their own companies, maybe come up with ways to, and I've talked about this before in the past, RoboBurger is coming. Whenever you have an influx of illegal aliens, an influx of people who can flip a burger and that's all they're good for, flipping a hamburger on a grill at McDonald's, whenever they're demanding $15 an hour, whenever there is abundance of people out there in the labor supply, people that don't want to work for that job because it's not going to get paid, and they think that this minimum wage job is worth way more than what it should be, or I think I'm worth way more than what this no-skilled labor job is actually going to pay. I want more money. You're going to get RoboBurger coming to a McDonald's near you. They're going to invest in this kind of technology. Of course they are. Don't they realize that the only thing that they're doing is fighting for something that, one, they don't deserve? I mean, when was the last time you went to a McDonald's and they actually got your order right? When was the last time that you went to McDonald's and you got a burger that looked like the picker that was up there that made you go, I want that? Doesn't happen to me very often at all. Just saying. It never looks right. And if you order anything special, oh my God, okay, one of my favorite hamburgers, sandwiches at McDonald's is what I call the Super Mac. And no, I'm not going to call it the Maxi Mac. That would be a great name, the Maxi Mac. Oh my God. No, I'm not calling it the Maxi Mac. It is the Super Mac. That's what I call it. It is a Big Mac, but instead of putting the 1/10 pound patties, you put the 1/4 pound patties on it. It is a Big Mac. It looks like a Big Mac, but instead of the smaller patties, it's got the bigger patties. That's my favorite burger to get whenever I am super duper hungry. That's what I like to order. However, I can't order it. Why? Because they never get it right. Because they never want to ring it up correctly. It's funny because I was actually having a debate with somebody, the manager that was at a McDonald's, and this was funny. I used to work there. Okay. I know the proper way to ring up the burger in order to have the best opportunity for it to actually come to me the way I want it. And that's ordering a Big Mac, add beef, because that's the only thing you're changing is the add beef. That's it. Instead, they want to ring it up as a double 1/4 pounder with mac sauce. It's like, no, I mean, I know what the reasoning is. You're paying for the meat. You're paying for the you're paying for the burger. Basically, you're not paying for the bread and the toppings. You're not paying for that. But here's the thing: they come up to the exact same price, to the penny. I know this because I've seen it in real time. I told the person to ring it up as a Big Mac add meat. The manager came over and said, "Nope, you can't ring it up like that. You got to ring it up as a double quarter pounder with cheese, add mac sauce." And I go, "That's not what I want." And the price was exactly to the penny the same. I looked at the manager and I said, "Really? Just so you know, whenever I get that burger back wrong, and it will be, believe me, I'm going to have you go back there and make the stinking thing yourself." And guess what? It came back wrong. Why? Because they didn't want to ring it up correctly. It's a Big Mac add beef. How hard is that? How hard of it? This is a burger that they make in the back all the time for themselves. This isn't like this is a new concept. This isn't like anti-gravity. This isn't a black hole. This isn't antimatter. This isn't rocket science. What's so hard about this? I don't get it, but they don't get it right ever. Anyway, and they want $15 plus an hour for that. It's like, really? You can't get a simple concept of the Maxi Mac correctly, and you want more money. Welcome to Robo Burger, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming. Why fight with employees that don't want to show up, that don't want to work, that you have to fight with them to actually do their job, let alone do it correctly? Why fight with that whenever you can spend less money on a machine that'll do the job? That's where we're going. Oh my God. Yeah. Linda put in here, she goes, Jim used to get mad because he would tell them no onions and it would be swimming in onions. Yeah. I've had that happen. No pickles, and they put a butt ton of pickles on it. This one time, one of my co-drivers where I work, I think she was up in Canada whenever this happened. And I guess they put like a teeny tiny amount of mayo on her Subway sandwich. And she was like, "Can I have a little bit more mayonnaise?" So this person, apparently they had a bad day. They had a bad day. Anyway, apparently they had a bad day. And I guess this Subway employee on this sandwich just went, put a ton of mayonnaise on that, a ridiculous amount of mayonnaise on her sandwich after that. And it was like, she was like, "I can't do mayonnaise anymore." That turned her off to getting mayonnaise on her sandwiches anymore. She will not question the amount of mayonnaise they put on her sandwich ever again because this person. And I can't say as if I blame her still to this day. Like, guys, okay, look, there's some things that I don't eat. Okay, there's just some things that mentally I just can't eat. I can't do cottage cheese. I know there's a lot of pro cottage cheese people out there. I just can't do cottage cheese. Why? Because it's curdled milk. If it's something that in theory I can make in my refrigerator as a science experiment, then I don't really know as if this is something that I should be buying on the shelf. I just don't. Sour cream is another one. It's cream that has soured. That means it's bad. Or at least it's well on its way to doing that. It's like, I can't do it. I can't force myself to do sour cream. Now, here's the thing. Here's my problem with sour cream, all right? I don't necessarily mind all that much the taste of sour cream. But unfortunately, all too often, whenever you go to a Taco Hell or any other place like that, they grab this huge, this huge spoon, and they put a huge amount on your taco. It's like, dude, I don't want to take a big bite of taco and the only thing I get in my mouth is a little bitty bit of tortilla and a huge amount of sour cream. It's like if they put that on there in moderation to where I can still, have the meat there and whatnot, moderation, guys. Moderation goes a long way. That's why I can't stand, sour cream, because most of the time that's what they do. One dual op right there in the middle of the whole stinking thing. I mean, like, they spread everything else out, guys. You get the meat. It's not piled in one spot. Nope, it's spread across the entire thing. Same thing with the lettuce, same thing with the cheese, same thing with the tomatoes. They spread it out across the whole thing. Sour cream, dual op one spot. They don't spread it out at all, making it to where you're going to get a mouthful of sour cream. Holy crap. Anyway, man, did I go off on a tangent. Holy cow. That's all right, though. That's all right. Good conversation. That's what I like to have. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, yeah. All right, guys, we're going to slide into, holy cow, we're an hour into this already, and I don't even think I'm halfway through this, but let's go ahead and continue, guys. Actually, you know what? We're going to go ahead and take a quick break because, no, we're not. No, we're not. We're getting into this. I told you guys I probably would. Let's go ahead and get into this article from the week, I guess. I don't know. That's what the screen says. I guess that's what it is. Rust assistant director maintains that Alex Baldwin did not pull that trigger in the shooting. And apparently, this guy is a lawyer. Didn't pull the trigger. Now, for those of you that may not know, this is what happened. What happened was, Alex Baldwin was on the set of Rust. Apparently, he was given a revolver. That's what he was given, was a revolver, all right? And it was supposed to be, and I hate this terminology, I know a lot of other people do out there too, it was supposed to be a prop gun, not meaning that the gun was fake. That's the terminology that I guess was being used. It was supposed to be a prop gun, meaning that it wasn't a fake gun, like that's what I equate with a prop gun with. But it was a gun that was not supposed to have live ammunition in it. So they handed him a weapon. They handed him a firearm. They handed him a revolver. And shot and killed one, and a second person was injured. Okay, that's the facts of the case. Okay. And it took some time for Alex Baldwin to actually go on to an interview on this. And we all know that Mr. Alex Baldwin was very well coached by his lawyers on what he can say, what he can't say, how he has to word it, not accepting responsibility. I know how that type of stuff works too. Okay, I know that's how that kind of stuff works too, because they tell you in any kind of a company, and I'm sure, Dave, you can attest to this too, and I'm sure Big M, you can attest to this as well. When you're in an accident as a professional, the last thing you want to do is use wordage that makes you the guilty party. Okay, driving down the road one time, and I had somebody flash me to get me to pull over. I was actually heading over into a truck stop, so I just went ahead and went to that truck stop. I was right there at that exit, not even a quarter mile down the road from it. Went into there, went in, pulled up. I was getting fuel, and the person was like, "You're a hard man to flag down." I'm like, "Well, by the time I seen you, I wasn't just going to go ahead and pull off. I was close to here. This seemed like the safest place to do, safest place to talk to you. So, how can I help you?" It's like, "Well, my wife over there was driving that vehicle, and you ran into her and messed up her mirror." And I was like, "Huh?" I was going, wait a second. You're claiming that I crossed the line and ran into you? Yep. Okay. How do you want to proceed? Called the cops. They were like, "Well, you guys can do it yourself because it's going to be a while before we get over to your location." But here's the point. I was careful in how I worded my response to this individual. I did not say, "Oh, I crossed the line and got into your lane and ran into you." That's what happened. I was like, "Oh, you're claiming that I did this." Okay. Now here's the thing. I have dash cam footage. We call that the CYA, which stands for cover your ass. That's why there's a lot of truckers out there to have a dash cam, because you never know whenever somebody's going to do something stupid, somebody's going to claim that you did something stupid, and you're going to need that to keep yourself out of hot water. So I had this dash cam footage. I reviewed the dash cam footage, and lo and behold, the dash cam footage proved that I did not cross the line. I gave it to my boss so that this way he can, give it to the insurance company. And it did not say whether or not an accident occurred, but what it did say is the entire time frame from the time me passing this individual and then taking the exit that I went to, that I did not cross the line into their lane. It's like the video was clear. I was in the clear. But that's not what I'm talking about, though. What I'm saying is you need to be clear in your language, because you don't want to, claim guilt. And that's more or less what it amounts to. So I know why Alex Baldwin was saying what it is that he said, saying that I didn't pull the trigger, but it gets worse than that. It gets worse than that. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to argue whether or not he pulled the trigger, because what Alec Baldwin is claiming is that he was given this weapon. Now, one, he didn't check it, and that's Firearms 101. You check the weapon. Why he didn't check it, being given a gun that is, that is a real gun. It is not a prop gun. It's not a fake gun. It's not a rubber gun. Why he didn't check it is beyond me. But this is somebody that obviously doesn't, he isn't around firearms and doesn't know safety. Before you give anybody a gun, you should tell them, and this is, this again is gun ownership 101. You explain to them this is safe and this is unsafe. Go to a gun range and try doing unsafe gun practices. They're going to call you out on it. Other gun owners that are there, the owners of the firing range, they're going to call you out on it. You screw up enough, you screw up bad enough, you're going to be kicked out of that place, and you're not going to be allowed to come back. Gun owners take gun ownership and gun safety very, very serious. They take it very, very serious. Linda put in here, she goes, my question is, how does a gun get fired if no finger is on the trigger? I'm going to get into that, actually, because his reasoning behind that actually is tangible. Okay, I can believe it. Do I actually believe it? I don't know. But it's technically possible. Let me put it that way. It's technically possible. With his explanation of what happened and how everything went down, it is technically possible. So he's claiming that he got this gun. Now, again, he didn't check it. He didn't check the cylinders to make sure that every round that was in it was a blank, because that, I think, was what the claim was, that there were supposed to be, if any round was in it, it was supposed to be a blank, I guess. But he didn't check it, Gun Safety 101. But is what he did, he was basically told by the director, I want you to do such and such with the hammer. And he pulled the hammer back and was like, is this far enough? And the director was like, yes. And he let go of the hammer with it being pulled back. It wasn't locked into place, because you can do that. You can pull a hammer back without actually clicking it into position. I don't know if this was a 2-stage hammer or a 1-stage hammer. I don't know. My assumption is it's a 1-stage hammer. You just pull it back till it clicks and you're done. My semi-automatic pistol is a 2-stage. Okay. Click it, halfway back, it'll click into position. Click it all the way back, there you go. But the trigger pull is what makes it to where it can go from all the way back to all the way forward. You can't do that otherwise. So that's what my assumption is, that it was a 1-stage hammer, 1 click all the way back, but he didn't take the hammer all the way back till it clicked in position. And instead of slowly releasing the hammer back to where it was, completely released, he let the hammer go. And that's how it happened. But he says that he never pointed the gun and shot somebody, of which case, okay, maybe you didn't point the gun, but the gun was still pointed at somebody. I understand. That's legal speak. That is a lewd point, I guess you can say. It is a technicality, I guess you can say. But I understand you can have the gun just kind of sitting there, not necessarily pointing at somebody, but the gun still be pointing to somebody down range. I get that. Again, not the best way to do it. You need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to be aware of things that are, down line that can still be in the line of fire. You are supposed to be aware of this. But this is why I say that Alec Baldwin is not a gun user. Because I can tell you this right now, Keanu Reeves would have known better. If this was Keanu Reeves, this never would have happened. And even though I hate the man's politics, I could even go as far as to say that Liam Neeson, whom is anti-gun but makes a fortune off of using them on screen, would still know better than to do what Alec Baldwin did. He would still know better. He would still be aware because he at least uses them on the open screen. I can't say when the last time I've seen a gun in Alec Baldwin's hands. Whether it be on screen, whether it be off screen. But again, this is a guy who is not familiar with how guns work before one was ever put in his hand that wasn't a fake gun. I'm going to get off the whole, prop gun. I'm going to get off of that. A fake gun or a real gun. So if you're going to hand somebody a real gun, you better make sure that this person knows proper gun safety. That measure was never taken. Whether it be somebody else's responsibility to know that, or whether it be Alec Baldwin's responsibility to know that, I'm going to go both on that one. I'm not going to say this is a one or the other issue. It's both. Because as somebody whom is a gun advocate, somebody whom is a fierce Second Amendment supporter, I can tell you right now, gun safety is huge. Before I ever hand over a weapon, there's certain things you do. Is it loaded? Is it unloaded? Is there rounds in the magazine? Is a magazine in the gun? Is a magazine not in the gun? Is there a round in the chamber? These are things you check before you ever hold a gun over to somebody else. And to be on the safe side, you eject the magazine, you rack the hammer back, and you keep it open. You don't even, not rack the hammer back, but rack the slide back. That's what's a semi-automatic at any rate. That's what you do. And on some revolvers, you can do the same thing, kick the cylinder to where it's no longer in the gun, cocked off to the side, hand it over that way. With rounds in it, without rounds in it, you eject the cylinder to where the cylinder is not even there, not even in the gun. You don't have to worry about it. Same thing goes with you open the slide, you lock that slide open, you eject the magazine. This way you do not have to worry about that gun being loaded, handing it over to somebody, because you're doing two things right there. You're proving to yourself that the gun is not loaded, and you're also showing and making it easier for the person whom you are handing it over to that the gun is not loaded, it is empty. All you got to do is just tip it right there, right from the top. You can see all the way through it, and there's no round in the chamber, no round in the barrel. You know this. Gun Safety 101, they didn't go over this with him, but he had it pointed at him. Now, here's where it gets interesting, okay? Because Alec Baldwin is saying that he didn't pull the trigger, and in which case I can believe that, but here's the part that I got to be honest with you. This is the part to me that I find appalling. Okay? This is the part to me that where I call Bravo Sierra. And let me refer to this headline right here from AP. Someone is responsible for shooting, but not me. And again, I understand. Legal speak, you don't want to claim responsibility. I do understand that one. But the bottom line is, he had the gun. He was holding the gun. The gun was in his hands. As a user of said firearm, you are responsible, no matter what, for what happens with that gun in your hand. He is responsible. If he had any knowledge of what to, how you're supposed to use a gun, then he would know this. Wouldn't be a question. I understand the legal speak. I really do. I know there's a reason why he said it, and I know that his lawyer said that don't accept responsibility. I'm sure that's what happened. So like in a matter of speaking, I really don't even fault Baldwin for making this statement. It's the legal and right thing to say. Someone is responsible, but it's not me. But where it's detestable is him saying that, he doesn't feel responsible at all. And I mean, granted, he did say that, he's, he has nightmares from it. He feels bad about it. He cried on set, which I don't believe that for an instance. He's an actor. Actors kind of train themselves to cry on demand. So that aspect of it, I don't care. There's a difference between Alex Baldwin crying during an interview and somebody like Kyle Rittenhouse, who's a 17-year-old kid that isn't a trained actor. I don't even know if crying on demand is something I can do, but actors teach themselves how to do it. I don't believe for one second. I have no reason to believe that it was a false cry, a real cry. I don't know, but I'm not going to put any weight behind him crying during this interview. He's an actor. He knows how to do this on demand. I don't even care. So, I mean, he does say that, he has bad dreams from it. And I know that him saying that I'm not, someone's responsible, but not me is something that his lawyer told him to say. I mean, honestly, shouldn't have even said it at all. Bypass the question. It's like, hey, I apologize, but, to that, I really can't speak about it. My lawyer has told me don't speak of that topic. That would have been the right and proper way to go about it instead of going, hey, someone's responsible, but just not me. And this one, sheriff responds after Alec Baldwin claims that he didn't pull the trigger in the fatal shooting. And I would actually kind of recommend checking that. Well, there's not a video, is it? No, it's not a video. Never mind. And you guys can check out all of these articles that I use in the show by heading on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab. And there you will see my magazine on Flipboard. And you guys can check out all the articles that I use on every show. Highly recommend that. So, guys, we are going to go ahead and move on. We still have a couple things to talk about. We really do. Holy crap. Just a couple minutes, and I will be right back. been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Brandon puts in an awesome question. By the way, welcome back. How y'all's doing? Brandon, the host of the Machine Radio Show, co-owner of Weaponized Sloth Production. Let me say that slower. He puts in here, how does a handgun go off twice without squeezing the trigger? I didn't think it went off twice. I thought that the round went through, it was a through and through on the first person and the round hit a second person. I honestly did not hear anything about, two shots being fired, just one. So if you know something I don't, put that in, but I didn't hear anything about two shots being fired, just one. The original thing that I heard was that it was a through and through to the first person because of where it hit, a through and through on one person, and then hitting the second person. That's what the original, report was on that. And I haven't heard anything to the contrary. But yeah, that's what I'd heard. So guys, this next topic is going to be the remainder of the show. Yes, it is, because now we are getting into the controversial topic, the one that seems to have so many, such polarization behind it, it's not even funny, okay? And that is talking about abortion. For those of you that live in a box, the Supreme Court is now hearing an argument based off of, I believe, a Mississippi abortion ban after 15 weeks, almost 4 months past the first trimester, making it illegal to have an abortion past that time. That is the law that was written, and this case was appealed by the Supreme Court, and now Roe versus Wade could possibly be on the chopping block. And yes, I do say possibly, because we all know that some of the people that are in the Supreme Court, even though they may claim conservative status, may not necessarily have conservative points of view. John Roberts is a prime example of this. He said that could be true, as far as only one round being shot and not two. But yeah, so moving on. If you do find out, let me know, because now you've actually got me curious. But the original report that I heard was that it was a through and through on the first person going into the second person. I couldn't even tell you, which one died, which one lived. I have absolutely no clue. But at any rate, that's what I heard. But anyway, moving back to the abortion argument, okay? Now, here's the thing. I understand why this is a very polarizing. Linda Irwin put in here, and thank you for this information. She said, yes, the same bullet struck both people. Awesome. I appreciate that. That's what I thought. But again, I wasn't 100% sure, especially after, Brandon put that question in there. So I appreciate the info, Linda. Greatly. She is on the ball, man. I'm telling you. She's awesome. So, but I understand why the abortion issue is so polarizing. And it really amounts to this, whenever you have, certain stances, okay? And this was one of the things that is brought up in the Matrix. I go back to the Matrix a lot whenever I'm talking politics, because it really is, it is a huge representation for politics in the U.S. It really is, okay? But you have people that are so locked in their beliefs that it's not about truth. It's about protecting themselves. They don't want to view themselves or see themselves as the bad guy. Nobody wants to be, or nobody is, the criminal in their own story. They have justifications for everything. That you see that a lot. And that's what I think it really amounts to. You have people that have had an abortion. They don't want to think of themselves as morally corrupt. Therefore, abortion is fine. It's not a baby. It's a lump of cells. And that's why they believe that, And there's also a good place that the argument could be put, and this is something that they don't even want to talk about, is, that they don't want to define life. They don't want to define an unborn child as a baby. They want to define it as a fetus, because using that medical terminology, you are, in a matter of speaking, covering up, through the obscurity of language, what it is. We've seen that in the past. Now, not to bring religion into this, but the King James Version of the Bible was written in such a way to use words that the average everyday person didn't really know, and therefore they had to go to the church for that guidance, for that, what does this mean? They couldn't figure out on their own what it was, and that was the whole purpose behind the King James Bible. Not knocking the King James Bible. I love the King James Version of the Bible, but that's one of the reasons why it was written the way that it was to make people reliant on the church, putting the power of salvation in the hands of the church. Like it or hate it, that's what it amounted to. But that's why they do that. I think this is a huge reason as to, I said Brandon. I didn't say it was Brian that said that. I apologize. I looked at the Gatton on that, and that's, I'm sorry. My bad. You ever had the moments where you feel like a complete idiot? I had one just there. Looked over and it was like, oh, Brian, both with B's, both with the same last name. I got confuzzled. I really did. Anyway, but that's what that amounts to, that they are obscuring what a unborn baby is by using language that separates the word from what it is. You've got to use that translation in order to figure out what the fetus really is. And I think they do that on purpose, but they don't want to call it a baby. They want to call it a fetus, that separation in there to hide what it really is. They don't want to define life, But this is the argument of where I was going into, okay? You have, our founding fathers, whenever they a long time ago, it was life, liberty, and property. That was originally the language that they used, but that's not what they actually used in the final draft. They used life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Why did they do that? They did that because our founding fathers did not agree with slavery. They didn't agree with it at all. Now, before you condemn any of these people for having slaves, might I add, Job, guy in the Bible, he had slaves. Our founding fathers had slaves. What was that guy? Liam Neeson played a character in, I think it was Auschwitz maybe, he saved many, many people from concentration camps, from being killed, because he, got people to work in his factory. Brian, that's funny. That is funny. But I don't remember the guys. I don't remember whom Liam Neeson's character was. But, he was convicted of war crimes. Even though what he did it for a good reason. He was saving people from the gas chambers. He was saving people from going to these concentration camps by allowing them to work in his factory. That's what he was doing. He was still arrested and killed. I'm pretty sure he was killed for war crimes. Don't remember the character's name, but the same thing goes for here. He didn't want them to be viewed as property. Oh yeah. Again, it's not that you do something. It's why you do something. In the Bible, they don't talk about whether or not you had slaves. It was how you treated your slaves. That's what it amounted to. And that's where I'm going with this. That's the point I'm making with, yes, they may have had slaves. How did they treat them? If you got to go somewhere, where would you much rather this person go? To a person whom is going to treat them like crap, beat them, whip them, hurt them, absolutely? Or would you much rather them go to a person whom is actually good, like Job? Like this character or like the guy whom Liam Neeson was, playing. Okay. And I am having issues right now with my web browser. I really hope everything is still up and going. This is the second time this has done that to me. It looks like everything is fine. Hopefully it is. But anyway, let's get back into this. It's not that. It's how you treated people. Okay, that was what the deciding factor was. Okay, that seems to be something that they don't ever want to talk about when they're talking about our founding fathers owning slaves, or some of our founding fathers owning slaves. Linda says Spreaker is working. Awesome. I appreciate the heads up on, or the info on that. Appreciate it. But moving on, they can basically do the same thing here. With slavery, our founding fathers did not want the argument of are black people property or slaves. They did not want the argument. That's why they did not use life, liberty, and property. They used life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, because no matter a person's color, no matter what their status is as far as, being slave or free, didn't matter. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. There you go. Pursuit of happiness encompasses all. It doesn't matter if you are perceived as property or not. That's why they did that. You can do the same thing here in this, as if they just declare, just state, just go based off of science on a standpoint that you are alive when this happens. That's it. I've said this before, the Civil War, horrible, ugly. Yes, absolutely. Brother against brother. That's what it pitted. What I found bad about the Civil War was the fight, or I guess the arena that the fight was battled on. Brian says, YouTube gold. Awesome. I appreciate that. The Civil War, in a matter of speaking, wasn't fought over slavery. Yes, that might have been the flag that they waved, that they carried, but it was over states' rights. If our federal government would have made it, not about slavery, but about freedom, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, not based off of color, not based off of religion, not based off of creed, not based off of sexual orientation or whatever. All men are created equal. And all of men, they mean mankind. I don't want to hear the whole, that doesn't include women. Yes, it does. It's a generic term for mankind. Don't get your panties in a bunch. If they rested on black people or people, therefore they deserve the same rights as anybody else. There is no distinction in the Constitution. They could have landed on that and made it a constitutional argument, not a states' rights argument. And that is the way that I wish they would have gone. They can do the same thing here. By just saying that you are a person when you can verify life. There you go. Because of the fact of the matter is, you're not a parasite. Holy crap. You're not just a lump of cells. You're not a tumor to be removed. It is a baby. It is an unborn child. I find it appalling when we afford rights, more rights, greater rights, a huger punishment for being convicted of these rights on somebody that mishandles some animals out there. Some animal eggs. I think the bald eagle may even be one of them. You can't break open a bald eagle. an egg of a bald eagle. You can't do that. They have more rights than what we do as unborn people. It's like, holy crap, that's ridiculous. Why is it that animals have more freedom and protections than what we do before we are actually born and come out of the womb? And even that isn't safe, but, we'll go, we'll skip right over that. If they change the argument and actually define for what it is, to me, that's the best way to win the argument. Because, and here's the thing, science, they love to say, oh, we believe in science. Really? This is another pet peeve of mine, but if you are using a metric to determine death, a heartbeat, why aren't you using that same metric to declare life, the heartbeat? That's what the Texas law was all about. It was about the heartbeat. It was the heartbeat bill. That's what it was about. But it cracks me up, though, because one of the things that they were saying, an argument that the left was saying was, well, just because, because here was one of the things that the right was saying, okay, was that you are at that point, you responsive to pain, you respond, the unborn child at that point is responding to stimulus. Okay. Pulling away from pain, from, being poked with a needle or whatever, they're responsive to pain. And they were trying to say that, oh, well, just because they're responding to pain doesn't necessarily mean that the person is conscious, that they are aware of what's going on. It doesn't mean that there's any brain activity. Had a hiccup burp right there. I apologize. But just because they're responsive doesn't mean that there's any brain activity. That doesn't mean they're alive. Wait a second. So are you going to say that it is okay to kill somebody whom is brain dead, that's on life support? Exactly, Linda. That's exactly where she was going, and she beat me to it. There are people on life support for an extended amount of time with an active heartbeat, but no chance of brain activity or consciousness. Again, responsible people can decide to end that life support. And you're right, that they can, but even still, it's, that's up to the family, though. That's not necessarily up to, the doctor. If I go into said hospital and kill that person whom is on life support, I would be convicted of murder. I would be. And that's a double speak too that irritates the life out of me, because if you are a guy whom, beats a woman. Now, again, I am not condoning this, violence against women, especially violence against pregnant women. I am not condoning this activity at all. However, legally speaking, if you beat that woman, and you cause, that beating causes, the pregnant person to have a miscarriage, then you are legally responsible for that life. Wait a second. If you're not alive until after you're born, if you're not a baby yet, then how can I be convicted if I am the one who beat that pregnant lady until she had a miscarriage? How can I be convicted of murder if it's not a baby? The double speak, but that's what they claim, though. Okay. Again, they don't want to have that argument, because if they did, it's a whole new ball of wax. To me, that seems like the best place for them to go is just state, for the record, that at this time, through this metric, we are advanced enough in our technology to do this. If you have a heartbeat, if you have a central nervous system, which is what, being responsive to, to stimuli proves, you're not going to react to a finger prick, a prick on the finger from a needle. You're not going to react to that unless you have a central nervous system. If you don't have a central nervous system, you're not going to have any type of consciousness. They can measure the brain activity. they can determine if there is. I mean, if she's going to make that argument with that just because you are responsive to stimulus doesn't necessarily mean that you have consciousness, that you're not brain dead, that you have brain activity going on, because that's their argument. You know, people whom are brain dead can still be responsive to stimulus. So one doesn't necessarily mean the other, but it's like, okay. So if that's the argument you want to make, you know, then we'll do that study. But here's the thing though, too. That study doesn't mean anything. Because if you're going to make that argument to somebody on the left, being somebody on the right, if you are going to make that argument as a pro-lifer to somebody whom is pro-choice, the question really becomes is, if the answer is yes, is that going to change your stance on abortion? That's the question. A while back ago, there was a committee that was held in the EU. Both secular and sacred attended this. One of the things that was concluded in this, and I don't remember the time frame, this is just something that I had read, I had heard, I had seen, whatever. But it was, several nations were involved in this along with the Catholic Church. Okay? And this committee more or less came to a conclusion that once you have reached, once a fetus, once an unborn child has reached the point to where they are, what's that word I'm looking for? That they can live outside the womb, in an incubator on life support, if it is viable. If the unborn baby is viable outside the womb, then you cannot kill said baby. As a doctor, you cannot kill that baby. I mean, let's face it. The doctors have that Hippocratic oath, the oath that they take to do no harm. So if that unborn baby is liable outside the womb, then they cannot kill that unborn baby. They have to allow it every opportunity to live. Abortion before, no abortion after. And if they were to do something like this here, that would be awesome to me. I would think that would be absolutely amazing. Would the left be happy on that? Would they subside their argument on that one? Because if not, you would have to ask them, wait a second, what is this abortion about? Is it about you not being pregnant, or is it just about destroying a life? Which is it? Again, state your intentions. If you agree, if you want to be pro-abortion, state your intentions. What do you mean by that? Do you want to destroy a life, or do you just want to end your pregnancy? Because there's a difference. And that's the conclusion they were coming to in this EU Council. We will make you not pregnant, but we will not end a life. You can have one, you can't have the other. It gets worse than that, but that's an aspect of it. I was like, that to me made a lot of sense. It really did. And there's another thing too. I mean, we have these sanctuary places that a mother can just drop a baby off, no questions asked. They're not going to get prosecuted for, abandoning a child or the endangering the welfare of a child. You can there's all kinds of places around that you can do that. You don't want to be pregnant, fine. You don't want to have that child, fine. You don't want to take care of that child, fine. There's places you can take that baby and you're not held accountable for anything that happens. There's sanctuary places that a mother can go to. Why not use them? I never understood nor agreed with, ending a life under any circumstances. I never agreed with it, Some of the arguments that I understand are like, it's like, oh, well, what if it's a crackhead baby? What if it is a baby that was born a product of incest or rape? It's like, well, okay. Have you never heard of a morning after pill? Because there's your solution for rape. There's adoption. There's that whole what's going on in the EU as an alternative after a certain point. If you're not able to have an abortion earlier than that, well, then you can do that whole, getting unpregnant and allowing that baby to live, because either way you look at it, you are making somebody else pay for somebody else's crime. There's nothing lawful about that at all. I can at least in those cases understand why somebody would want an abortion. In the case of rape, not being able to get an abortion or take the morning after pill in the case of incest, of something like that, but that would still, in some cases, be considered rape. Well, never mind. Semantics. It is a touchy subject, but I am curious as to how y'all feel on this. There's a lot of ins and outs to this, and there's a lot of things of what could happen. And again, one of the things that I find hilarious, of what they are arguing in the Supreme Court is they're saying that this is about choice. A woman's right to choose what happens to their body. So they want to uphold Roe versus Wade. And they don't seem to understand the irony that you have in the administration a president who says you will get vaccinated or else you can't do anything. Wait a second, I thought I had liberty. I thought I had the freedom to choose what went on with my own body. Well, that's only if you're pregnant. That's only if you want an abortion. Well, wait a second. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If I had the freedom of choice, then I had the freedom of choice. You see, they don't want to make the argument about life because they know that they lose. So instead, they're making the argument about choice. The right, we're fighting about life. We're not fighting abortion. We're not fighting choice, because here's the thing. I'm pro-choice too. You have the morning after pill. You have, contraceptives. You have, different things that you can do, a UTI, a this, that, and the other. You have all kinds of steps that you can take in order to ensure that you don't get pregnant. You got condoms. Condoms are cheap. Holy crap. And then you see this headline from the Daily Caller. This is hilarious. You're going to laugh. Joy Barr says conservatives do not understand the reality of what happens when you have, holy crap, of what happens whenever you have sex. Sorry, my computer screen went psycho again. I apologize. But anyway, yes. We, conservatives don't understand the reality of what happens when you have sex. Wait a second, it's like, come on, freedom of choice. You have that, abstinence is the best way to not get pregnant. What do you mean we don't know what happens when you have sex? Yeah, we do. You can get pregnant. You want to have the freedom of choice? Choose abstinence. You're not going to get pregnant. The birds, the bees, the plug goes into the outlet. These are things that cause pregnancy. Man and a woman together again. When a mommy cat and a daddy cat loves each other very much, that's what happens. And you're surprised, oh, I'm pregnant. How did that happen? I mean, are they claiming that everybody who wants an abortion that was surprised that they were pregnant? Are you wanting me to believe that, somehow you're Mary, You're Jesus's mom. Is that, immaculate conception? Is that what you're wanting me to believe? I think they're the ones who don't seem to understand what happens when you have sex. I apologize, Joy Barr, but you're ignorant. You should fix your ignorance with some edification. It might serve you well in the future. There's all kinds of ways. There's the birth control pills. There's a lot of things you can do. Yeah. Anyway, anywho, where am I at now? I'm right here. So they're making their argument one way. They're making their argument about liberty, about the right to choose. But they don't even understand, nor do they see their own hypocrisy whenever it comes to the vaccine mandate. They refuse to make the argument about life because they know on that argument, on that stage, in that arena, playing that game, they lose, not even close. They know this. And this is something that I heard not that terribly long ago. The right needs to learn how to fight the way the left does. They need to learn how to fight. Now, here's the thing based off an article I seen also not that long ago was that, those look interesting. I kind of like those. Check this out, guys. Those pair of shoes right there, those are actually kind of spiffy. I like the looks of those. The ones on the left, not the ones on the right. They're neat looking shoes. I like weird stuff. I had bought a pair of shoes one time. They were surprisingly cheap. I think they were like maybe $15 for a pair of shoes. And, they were really, really neat, like very old fashioned looking, very simple, very basic. Those remind me of that shoe. Anyway, squirrel moment. I know. I apologize. Shoes. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Yeah, okay. Anyway. I don't even remember what I was talking about right there. That was great. Anyway, guys, that's really all I got. There are more articles in here that I have. So again, you guys can head on over to thehohoshow.com, click on that Flipboard or click on the newsfeed tab. You'll see the magazine on Flipboard and all of my articles separated by show and date, and even the name is in there. You guys can definitely check that out. Just head on over to thehohoshow.com. And I'm trying to think on, I know there was another point I was about ready to make before I so rudely interrupted myself with the squirrel moment. But yeah, there's a lot of other articles in here that I didn't get to, talking about, inflation, talking about, the shutdown. Holy crap. Yeah. I might get into that one next weekend, because right now I'm actually kind of curious as to how that happens. It did go through the Senate. It went through the House. Don't know if it's going to go through the Senate, or at least I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that one at all. Hypocrisy of illegal immigration. Yeah. So yeah, there's a few other things that I could have talked about, but being almost 2 hours into this, I think we'll call this one quits. So guys, y'all just have yourself a wonderful day. I do stop gap measure until Friday the 18th. Oh yeah, I did hear, more or less kicking it down the road, to kick it down until I think it was February. Yeah, you're right on that. I did hear that one. So but that's not exactly. I don't think that's necessarily what they were aiming for. I don't know if that's necessarily the same thing, but I did hear. You're right, Linda. I did hear that the a resolution to kick the can on down the road till February. Not exactly the bill that they are wanting to do, or whatever the case may be, but at least something to kick it down the road more. But I'm actually kind of curious. Now here's the thing, and we talked about this, I think it was last week, with Mitch McConnell. I think it was Mitch McConnell that was basically saying that, yes, we're going to do this now, but we are not going to do this next time. Next time we are going to make them do what it is that they need to do in order to get this done, to keep the government running, to ensure that there's not going to be a shutdown. And right then, and you guys can listen to that episode, that I knew darn good and well it wasn't going to happen. Mitch McConnell is notorious for this kind of crap. He says one thing, but he does something else. He's not quite as bad as Mitt Romney, but he's pretty stinking close. Mitt Romney needs to change the letter, his name from an R to a D, because he is a Democrat. And Mitch McConnell ain't much better. He really ain't. These people don't stand up for us. These people don't stand up for liberty and freedom. No. That's another aspect that ticks me off. Taxes. That's something we'll get into on the next episode. Taxes. The different things that our money goes to that, okay, here's the thing. There are, 15 or 18 enumerated powers that the federal government has, that they have the right to tax their people in order to pay for. You go outside of that, they don't have the right to do that. The government was never meant to be a charity to any other nation, let alone its own population. They were never meant to be charity. I'm not even talking about veterans, because they have an obligation to take care of the people who fought, were wounded, or unwounded, doesn't matter. Those that fought for the very freedom that they live under. We have an obligation to do that. We do. But giving money that should go to our veterans, especially our homeless veterans, providing illegal aliens with housing, and making a veteran live on the street, ticks me off. And yet they want more of our money. They want these huge spending bills. The infrastructure bill that they just got done passing, that only 9% of the entirety of the funding of that bill actually goes to infrastructure. What does the other 91% go to? Their own special interests. That's where it goes to. What the hell? When are we actually going to stand up as a people and hold these so-called representatives accountable for the stupid crap that they do? How do they keep getting elected into office? Man, y'all sent me on that stuff ticks me off beyond belief. I can't tell you how much. Ooh, man. Whew. That stuff irritates the life out of me. It really does. One of these days I'm going to, just because I'm irritated so much about this kind of crap. Anyway, guys. Yeah. All right. That is all I got for today. That is it. I'm out of here. Y'all have yourself a wonderful day. Good night. Sleep tight. And if the bed bugs bite, well, by golly, bite it back. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.